Welcome back to the vlog and welcome here to Hoskins, Papua New Guinea. Beautiful afternoon. I wasn't supposed to fly today, but we're heading back from Hoskins back to Madang to pick up some people to head on up back to Goroka. And I'll tell you why I wasn't flying here in a second, but we've got our friend here, George, today, following along. We'll be doing over a water flight today over to Madang, so let's go ahead and get started. Igniter's on, fuel pump on. Low start. Once our NG comes up over 14%, I'll introduce my fuel. Watch for the rate of my ITT come up, make sure my NG is coming up over 35%. Checking for hung starts, and then we look at our ITT for a hot start, so that we don't burn up our engine basically. So our generator on, prop forward or V2 on. Our alternator and our auxiliary bus, there we go. So it's a 2-hour flight back to Madang today. As you can see, we've got a plane off to my left that is having oil pressure indication errors, I believe, as that's what we think it is, because we've had it before. Anyways, fluid mechanic out here to get that one fixed, and now I'm flying back empty and just finishing up the flights for the other pilot. We'll be heading back at 14,000 feet if it works out. All stations Hoskins, Kodiak November Tango Echo, taxiing runway 30, be departure Madang. We'll be on climb 14,000, all stations Hoskins. Moresby 5565, November Tango Echo, taxi. November Tango Echo, taxi, Hoskins, Madang, 1 POB. All stations Hoskins, 1271, November Tango Echo, be rolling runway 30 for Madang. Will be on climb 14,000. It is 33 degrees out, so we will go 1470 for 1520 on the torque. And airspeed is alive. There's 57 knots. We'll rotate. Pitch over just a tiny bit. Get our airspeed up to 85 knots. And we'll climb out at 85 knots. We're going to prop on back to 2,000 RPM. Alright, now we're out of the area, we'll go ahead and flip our engine back to normal. Our igniter's turned off. We'll leave our landing light on just because there is some airplanes. There's one over here and one that we just passed. And we'll start pitching up for 100 knots just so we can get up to 14,000 feet as quickly as we can. And all stations Hoskins, 1271 November Tango Echo, now currently 2 miles to the west-northwest, passing 7,800, should be all well clear.
Thanks, Mike Charlie, Kilo, have a good day.
Likewise. So we're here in Papua New Guinea, out in West New Britain today, out of Hoskins. And we're heading all the way across, basically the north end of the island, over here to Madang. So when I came out here about 2 hours ago, there was quite a bit of rain and just kind of scuzzy clouds in the Madang area. And all basically in this kind of area, there was just a bunch of rainstorms and stuff. I'm thinking that it's going to stay up in that area, but we'll see when we get a little bit closer. It shouldn't be a problem. Well, because we are in an unpressurized airplane today, as always in the Kodiak, we'll be wearing our oxygen once we get up. Up to 14,000 feet, we'll have to be starting to wear oxygen. Actually, we have to start wearing it before then, but might as well start getting it ready now. Put our oxygen on and then reset this up to 14,000 feet. Everything is strength 3, go ahead, November Tango Echo.
November Tango Echo, clearing is time 4. Confirm departure time of time 04.
Affirmative, departure time 04, estimating make it time 44, on climb 14,000. Alright, that chime just let me know that I'm 5 degrees Celsius outside to throw my pitot heats. We're just about 14,000 feet now, so works out a little bit better than I thought it was going to. Alright, now we're at 14,000 feet, we'll go ahead and reduce our power lever and bring our torque back, and actually what we're going to do is just bring our ITT right up to 700 feet, or 700 degrees. We've still got an hour and a half left to go, so we'll pick back up when we get a little bit closer into Madang. We've got 5 more minutes to run for Mickett, our next reporting point, and it looks like we might actually get into some rain and some IMC kind of stuff, but our actual track is a little bit more over that way. Our next reporting point is this way, but Madang is actually out that way, so I might just kind of divert off just a little bit. We'll see. I'll stick my nose into it and just see, but before I go into any IMC, the first thing I'm going to look at is like the temperature, just because this plane does not have any anti-icing stuff. It just has like your pitot heats, so basically like a 172, nothing. That's where basically -5 degrees Celsius to +5 degrees Celsius is a really prime area that you're going to pick up icing, and that's really the only temperatures that we're ever going to experience here in Papua New Guinea. Just because, for one, we only fly this up to 18,000 feet, and I might be at like -2 or 3 degrees Celsius at 18,000 feet, probably, something like that. So really that's kind of we're always in the prime area for picking up icing. And it usually starts around 14,000 feet, which I'm at today. So second thing I do is I just kind of evaluate what the clouds look like and how high they are above it. Not necessarily how dark it is, it just kind of shows how much moisture there is in it, but how high above and how built up they are, or how sharp the edges of the clouds are today. It's pretty kind of wispy. So it probably just has some rain and a few little bumps, but it's probably not that bad. There's no lightning strikes or anything. And then I always look at just my weight, what I am right now. So I'm like 5,400 pounds. So I can come up to my chart up here and just take a look at what my maneuvering speed is going to be. So it looks like it's around kind of in the middle, so like 124, 125. So if for some reason I needed to slow down, I know my maneuvering speed is 125, so. The thing I do is just take a look, and if I know I'm going to be going into rain, I just need to be at a speed below 140 knots so that I can put my engine inlet to bypass and then maybe throw my igniters on if it's heavy enough rain. This plane does not have radar, so you kind of just go into a lot of this stuff blindly and stick your nose into it and see how bad it is and then make your adjustments from there. It doesn't really look that bad. It does look like some decent rain up there, but that's about it today. We'll just go ahead and throw an engine inlet to bypass right now before we can get into it. And when you throw your engine inlet to bypass, it's actually going to raise your ITT just a couple of degrees and kind of give you this weird humming sound as well. It's because the air is hitting the bypass and making that thing kind of vibrate a little bit. There's a good chance I'll have to go down to 12,000 because as we start getting into the rain, it's probably going to drop the temperature a couple of degrees. Yeah, see, it's now 200 or 2 degrees Celsius, so I'm just going to drop on down to 12,000 now. But actually, it just looks like it's going to be just a little bit of sprinkles in here. Now I'm down to 1 degree Celsius, so it's kind of a pain flying right at the 14,000 on new filing. There's a good chance I'm going to have this issue, so I'll just call them up here in about 30 seconds and let them know that I'm dropping back down to 12,000. Moresby 127.1, November Tango Echo. Moresby 5565, November Tango Echo position. Reading is strength 1, overhead Mickett at this time. On descent 2000, due weather. Estimating overhead Long Island, time 19er next hour. Almost down to 12,000, we're back up to 3 degrees Celsius. Looking at the wing, nope. It's a heavy enough rain where it's not turning into ice. It's when it's just kind of like a mist or just like a light drizzle is when you have a higher chance, from what I've seen, to pick up some icing. 200 feet to go. Moresby 124.1, November Tango Echo request.
November Tango Echo, want to check for 124.1.
Yeah, reading is strength 4 is just confirming you got my call overhead Mickett on 5565.
And November Tango Echo negative, go ahead.
Was overhead Mickett, time 04, correction 44. On descent, now level 2000 due weather. Estimating Long Island, time 19er.
November Tango Echo 12000, no reported.
Air traffic, November Tango Echo. Yeah, I'm seeing out this way. I'm seeing kind of some low clouds out here. Nothing in front of me and nothing this way.
Mosby 1241 Alpha, Tango Bravo, position.
Well, if it was not rainy out today, I wanted to show you guys this old Japanese airstrip down here. It's just a big grass nothing now. But there's a really, really cool story behind it. If you look right here, this grass, whoops. If you look right here, this grass point. Back in the 80s, we used to fly Cessna 206s, and one of our pilots was flying a Cessna 206 from Hoskins back to Goroka, and he got out here in the Dampier Strait and started having engine problems. I think a loss of oil pressure or something like that. So he quickly made a 180, and he landed right here at Grass Point, which used to be an old Japanese runway, and it's just a bunch of grass now, so there's nothing there. But the really cool story behind this isn't just the fact that he landed safely, able to change out the engine or fix the engine or whatever and fly it back out. It was so long ago, and I've heard the story a couple different ways from different people. Hey, look at that, we're starting to break out. Anyways, his father was in World War II with the Americans, and his dad's job was to find these airstrips and bomb them. So this was one that he did not find, and the fact that his son, like, I don't know how many years later, 40 some years later, ended up having to use that same airstrip to land on, I think it's pretty cool. So one of these days when we have clear weather and I'm flying back on this trip, I'll take you and fly over top of it, because I've personally never flown directly over top of it low, and I'd like to see it myself, so I'll share that with you guys. Well, it looks like smooth sailing all the way on to Madang from here on out. Looks like we still have kind of some rain and stuff here to the south of us, but we'll head up to Long Island, which is also really cool history behind that as well. It's an island that has a huge lake in the middle of it. The lake is nearly the size of the island, and they used to use it as a World War II Japanese float base. So really cool history there as well. Well, we're just pretty much right over top of Long Island at this time. Like I was telling you, there's a big lake down there that they use for a World War II base. For the Japanese, they had a float base down there. Moresby 124.1, November Tango Echo. Moresby 124.1. Moresby 5565. Moresby 123.9er. No, Moresby 127.1. Not the day. Let's go ahead and get the ATIS now. We're just 70 miles out, 24 minutes to run at Madang.
November Tango Echo, Mike Charlie Tango, Moresby calling 124 as well.
Mike Charlie Tango, November Tango Echo. I'm not able to read him on any frequency. What frequency did you say?
November Tango Echo, go ahead.
Yeah, November Tango Echo was unable to read Moresby on any frequency. What frequency did you hear them on?
Sorry, you're both talking together. It's Mike Charlie Tango, November Tango Echo. Moresby's calling on 1241.
Okay, yeah, I can't hear. Would you mind relaying something that I am overhead Long Island at this time? 2000, estimating Madang 45.
November Tango Echo, go ahead after your estimate 2000 and a Madang wind.
Estimated Madang time 45. November Tango Echo, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Break, Moresby Mike Charlie Tango, 4 November Tango Echo. He was overhead Long Island this time, 2000, Madang at 45. Mike Charlie Tango. And November Tango Echo, Mike Charlie Tango, no traffic, and call Madang Tower 25 miles, 1181.
We'll contact Tower 25, thanks. November Tango Echo.
Zulu. Time 0402 Zulu. Runway 07 wet. Wind variable 3 knots. Visibility 10 kilometers or more. Cloud broken 1,600 feet. Overcast 3,000 feet. QNH 1010. Temperature and dew point not available. Rain showers in area. Caution, runway 07 threshold displaced by 650 meters. Bird strike hazard exists. Ship at the wharf, derrick height approx 100 feet. Acknowledge information kilo.
Looks like the local QNH is going to be the same. Rain showers in. We're coming basically more lining up on runway 25, so we'll just ask them if we can just shoot the approach runway 25 in. Probably not going to need to shoot for very long. This says it's overcast at 3,000, but basically right when we get to our initial approach fix, I think, it's like at 2,700 feet. So this is the RNAV GNSS 25 into Madang, and we'll be coming in from this direction. We'll just come right up to November Charlie. Anyways, looks like we might get into some more weather now, so before we do, let's go ahead and select my approach, runway 25. This one has an LNAV and a VNAV. We are going to go ahead and go with our November Charlie initial approach fix. Our minimums today, because we'll be using the VNAV, is 510 feet. And we'll go ahead and load that up. Bring it on the big screen and see kind of where I'm coming in. So actually, yeah, it still makes more sense just to do it that way. Probably the easiest. Well, actually, no. November Delta is actually a better choice, I think. Let me check that. Let me switch that. All right, to go ahead and select it, let me just go ahead and hit the procedures. We'll come down to select approach. We want runway 25, LNAV, VNAV. And we're going to do actually November Delta for our initial approach fix. Our Barrow minimums is 510 feet, and we'll load it for now. I've already got my top of descent mark in here. It's just in another few minutes, probably another 4 minutes, and then we'll get our load 2 for going down. Engine inlet bypass. Just as we go through a little bit of this rain, we'll probably punch out pretty quick. Oh, look at that. There we go. Take our engine inlet back to normal. So, like I said, we're coming here to November Delta, and we can drop on down to 2,700 feet. If we come over here, we can actually look at our arrivals. We're coming in port right now. So at 25 miles, which is this little ring right here, our minimum safe altitude is 2,000, but we'll just stay at 2,700 feet. Once we get there, then what we'll do is we'll drop down to 1,700 feet to November Foxtrot, where we'll join in with the glide slope. Down to 510 feet, where if we have to go miss, then we'll head on back to, it says, turn left direct to November Delta, basically where we started, back up to 2,700 feet. So we've got 1010 in here, we have 1010 on our secondary as well, our altimeter setting.
Vertical track.
All right, that's my cue to head on down. 800 feet per minute. We're going to be landing at 5,300 pounds, so 62 knots for our VREF. Turn off our pitot heights for the time being. That was a great time to go ahead and turn my altitude select all the way down to 2,700 feet. And then hit it on my autopilot so that it actually levels off at 2,700 feet. It looks like I actually want to be at that altitude when I get to November Delta. So I'm going to let it settle in for a second, and it looks like I might have to increase my descent rate to get to that altitude by the time I get there. It's saying, I just picked up Lima, information Lima, and it's saying that it's still 10 miles or 10 kilometers visibility. With an overcast of 3,000, broken at 1,600, so we shouldn't have any issues. Madang Tower, November Tango Echo.
November Tango Echo, Madang Tower, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, November Tango Echo, 25 miles to the east, passing 7,400 on descent. Your circuit time 4-3, and requesting to shoot the GNSS runway 25 via November Delta.
November Tango Echo, cleared on runway 25.
Clear nav runway 25, and I have information, Lima, November Tango Echo. Okay, my procedures button, activate my approach. That's going to go ahead and redirect me directly to November Delta. It's just a tiny slight turn. I'm also just going to bring my power arm back just as I punch through these clouds. I don't need to be going 165 knots, and I also want to get closer to my 2,700 feet by the time I get to the November Delta. We're just 7 miles out from there now. We already talked about our abort, which is just our missed approach if we have to go, but I don't think we will. A prop and harness. We'll do a prop here in a minute when we get up closer to November Delta. Once we start turning, then we'll start configuring ourselves up for the approach. Unless it's just perfect, well, even if it's perfectly clear, I'll still shoot it just for practice. I don't shoot this one particularly very often. All right, there is November Delta. Heading tower, November Tango Echo, November Delta this time.
November Tango Echo.
Now's the time I'm going to start slowing on down, push our prop forward.
November Tango Echo, wind check is northeasterly, light and variable. Runway 25 is available. You can continue for runway 25.
Yes, I'll take 25 available. Thank you, November Echo.
November Tango Echo, call again, November Foxtrot.
Call again, November Foxtrot, November Tango Echo. Okay, lights and inlet are done. Prop and harness is done. We'll do flaps and landing clearance yet to go. We've got 10 degrees of flaps in. We want 110 knots, prop forward, 10 degrees of flaps. That's what we're going to do on our approach today. Which usually takes about 800 foot-pounds of torque if you're kind of flat and level for most configurations, or for most weights and stuff. There's 2,700. We're just now making our turn from November India into November Foxtrot. Well, if we fly down via the glide slope, which we can, we should join it right up at November Foxtrot. Let's see if it joins in with it. Then we'll just fly that down to 510, our decision altitude. Otherwise, we'll just go down to a minimum descent altitude. There we go. Now the glide slope is coming in. Let's see if it connects. Yes, it did. It feels like it. I pull my power. November Tango Echo, November Foxtrot this time. Negative visual.
November Tango Echo, continue approach.
November Tango Echo. All right, it's heading down on its own. We'll go down to 510 feet, and now I'm starting to see the area. We have flaps to go. We've got landing clearance yet to go as well. Still quite don't see the runway. I know it's right there because I know where I am. I can see the islands. Don't see the runway though. November Tango Echo, visual of the runway 25.
November Tango Echo, runway 25, clear to land.
Clear to land 25, November Tango Echo. Alright, that works well. Go 20 degrees of flaps. And there we go. Cleared right out. And full flaps checklist is complete. And that's a crosswind.
Minimums.
There we go. Grab a little bit more. This wind is pushing me off. Looks like it's going to be a rainy flight back up to Goroka after this. That's for sure. thanks if you made it this far along in the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed that approach, I don't get to shoot approaches very often here in PNG. But hey, that was fun. Leave a comment down below and consider subscribing if you're not a subscriber already. I put out videos a couple times a week, so thanks for watching and welcome to Madang. Alright guys, see you next time.